This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Hey guys, Will here. Welcome back to Mining from the Engine's Chair. This is episode 7 of my 1/350 scale NX-01 commission build, and done some pretty good progress on it. I think this episode we're going to get the what I'm calling the impulse section done, and we've got our warp nacelles all tied in, and hopefully we'll be ready to start looking at attaching this to the lower section of the saucer. But if you've been following along with the build the Enterprise D, the big version from Eagle Moss, then you'll probably know what section I'm on, what part I'm on. So I haven't actually started building it. I'm going to wait until I get quite a few boxes, and I don't even know how many I'm going to wait for. I've got 5 right now, so we'll see. But at any rate, NX-01 build is coming along. Pretty much all my wiring's done at this point, so I'll take you back and we'll look at what I've done and catch you up. So give me a minute, I'll put you on the bench, we'll get to work. Alright guys, so just to do a review on the section here that I've completed. I believe I completed this last video. So all my wiring, I've hot glued it in place. Now I thought about just joining this together and just having one piece of wire running out, but I was a little worried about blocking up some of these lights and maybe coming across the crystal here, which I need lit up. So I didn't do it that way. I could probably do it that way and not block it, but I figured it's just easier to run the wires out and then join them inside the saucer section. So that's what I've done for right now. I've just hot glued these in place so they won't come out, and came back and I did a little blending as far as the painting, because remember I'm doing this in 2 steps. So it's pretty well blended together now, so it's good to go. So this section's good. I just got my Arduino box sitting under here to support it, just to make sure that it doesn't get warped or that. And speaking of warp, I mentioned before I was a little worried about there being some warpage on these, because this one side seemed higher than the other. But now that I've got it together, the nacelles actually look pretty, I don't know how well it shows up in camera, but they look pretty straight. So I think we're going to be good there. And I still got to join the lower half here, which is what I've mainly been working on. So I'll move this light over here. So I've got my impulse engines in place, and I've got the lighting set up on it. I did go ahead and, well, first of all, I did put the strobe where you see all this black at, because I light blocked it. I've got the strobe light under here for this strobe that you got on the bottom here. And so I've light blocked all that, so I won't have any light interfering with that, and every time it flashes it won't be lighting up my impulse crystal and making it flash. But so I've got that light blocked. I did drill some holes and put some fiber optics in the back here for these, well, it's 6 blue lights. It's 3 on each side. So I've got those in place, and I did replace this light strip with the warm white that I used in the saucer section, so that's good to go. And what I did for my impulse engine setup is, first of all, I'm going to say that you're going to want to take and you're going to want to sand down. Get this light over so make sure y'all can see this. Where this this black mark is, you've got this kind of ledge that sticks up a little bit for this piece to mount to. Well, if you don't sand it down or grind it down, which is what I did with my Dremel, it's going to cover probably 1/4 of your impulse light back here. So you're going to want to grind that down some so it's not blocking your lighting, because usually it comes up pretty high on this, and you're going to have a black line all the way across. I do still have a little bit of one on this side, but it's definitely better. But so you want to grind that down at least some. Leave a little bit up for this to mount to help line this part up, but grind it down some, because otherwise it's going to be blocking it. So I did that first. I ground both sides of this down. And then, of course, I painted my part here on the outside, and I painted this clear plastic piece with my Tamiya clear blue, which is the X-23, and I know I've already mentioned that before, but just want to make sure everybody knows. So the X-23 Tamiya clear blue is what I used, and you can see some of the light coming through already, just from the overhead light. But what I did was, I wanted, when you look at the images, let me see if I can bring this up for you. When you look at the images of the impulse engines, as soon as this loads, no, it's not going to load because I turned off the internet. Give me a second, people. When you look at the images, because I've got this saved on my, of the impulse, here we go. Take that light away so it's not glaring off of there, so hopefully this is showing up. But each of these has a distinct light to itself. So, you know, if you just put one LED back there, that's great. It's going to light this up. But I wanted to have two distinct hot spots on these. So what I did was, now I got to bring back my image finder. I put separate LEDs in here for it. So I've got one LED for each section. So I've got an LED mounted here and an LED mounted here. And what I did was I took a piece of sprue. Bring my light over again. Took a piece of sprue and I glued a piece of sprue down here on both sides for me to mount these lights to. So that's what you see here. And I hot glued the lights. What I did was I hooked them up to a battery and lit them up so I could tell where my hot spots were aiming, because you're going to have to aim these to get the hot spot right. Once I had it where I wanted it, then I hot glued it in place. So it's all hot glued in place now. Those are holding up. Let me hook a battery to it so you can see what we got here. Alright, that's what it looks like. So hopefully the camera's not completely washing it out, but I think you can see that there's, you know, each one has its own hotspot. So I'll show you the top so you can see where these lights are at. If I can keep the battery on it. So there we go. I know the camera's kind of washing that out, so it's hard to see, but there's our impulse lighting. I think it looks really good. So that being done, I'm about ready to mount this lower part to the upper part. One thing I'm going to forewarn you is I did cut down these pins a little bit because they're really long, and I don't think you need them as long as they are. One problem I ran into though is when I test fitted it, this pin broke off when I pulled this part off. So be really careful if you do a test fit on these about these pins breaking off, because they like to lock in place, which is good because it's good for holding them all together. The problem is if you do a test fitting, there's a good chance that pin's not going to want to come back out and it's going to break off. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. So I am ready to put this section together. I've got to do some sanding and some scraping to get the paint off of the seams where this is going to join that all the way around. So I've got a bit of work to do there. So I'm going to take a break, I'm going to get that done, and we'll come back and take a look at it. So be right back. Alright guys, so I got all the areas scraped off here. I just want to show one thing real quick though before I join these parts together. I was talking about those tabs on the bottom you need to grind off. Well, you also got the same issue on the top. So this little ledge right here you need to grind down on both sides. And what I'm going to do is take a little bit of black paint over top of that, because if you don't, what I noticed doing the bottom section is if you don't put black paint over this when you go to light it, it's gonna shine through. Unless you did black paint as your primer, it's gonna show through a little spot here. So I'll put some black paint over the top of this so it won't show through, and go ahead and get this glued together. But I just wanted to show real quick before I glued that together what I was talking about, you know, as far as grinding down this little ledge right here on both the top and bottom sections. So now I've got that done, I've got all my areas scraped away where this needs to join together, and I'm going to get these joined together and we'll come back. So stay tuned. Alright guys, unforeseen issue. When I test fitted these, I didn't push them all the way together because I was worried about those pins getting stuck, and they got stuck anyway. But When I finally tried to assemble it, I realized that because of the way I did my lights, over here, and I've had to rerun these to make room, but the way I did my lights, that piece that comes out here, if you look back at the video when I showed you last, the piece that comes out here, I've had to grind away to make room for that lighting. So I wasn't really too happy about having to do that, but these are together pretty well. They've been sitting up for about a week now, so they're nice and solid. I think I'm not too worried about it because the other parts can come on here and attach to this as well, and give it some more support as well. So I had to grind out this part here on both sides in order to make room for the lighting. So haven't tested it again yet because I'm not trying to break any more pegs off, but I'm gonna try to put it together again now, and we'll come back and hopefully that's worked out. So give me a minute, get that together, we'll be back. All right guys, got it all together. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat that this part does not play nice. It was a pain in the butt to get it to go together, to try to get it closed up as much as possible to where you don't have a lot of light leaks. And yeah, she fought me all the way. I got a couple places where I'm gonna have to try there's a little bit of a gap right there, and I mean the gaps aren't too bad, but I've got one over top of the impulse engine here that I don't like. I might have to work on. A little bit on the side, not too bad though. Tops went together pretty well. There's not any gap on top of the pylons here, so they went together really nice. But do have a couple of light leaks, mainly in the front here. There's a couple little spots where this thing doesn't quite go together like it should. There's a little bit of a gap in this corner here and in this corner. I'm gonna have to fill in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make up some of that slurry I had talked about before. I got some more perfect plastic putty in, so got plenty of that now. I'm gonna make up a slurry and I'm gonna start filling in some light leaks and start painting some of the details. I already started painting on a little bit in the front here. You've got this band right here in the front that's supposed to be black. This is supposed to be copper, looks like a copper color, but it's like a lighter copper. So what I might try to do is come back over this with a little bit of silver that's thinned out, to try to cut that down a little bit, because it's supposed to be like a really light copper color. And I chose to paint it on because when you look at it in the CGI images of it, it looks kind of brushed to me. So I painted that on. I'm going to try to come back over it with some really thinned out silver and try to take that down just a little bit. And back here in the back, the instructions don't really do a good job of telling you these little details to paint. It tells you, you know, painting whole parts, but as far as painting small details, it doesn't really go into them. So, you know, if you build this model, definitely get a hold of the CGI renders and use those as a paint guide, because they definitely work out better. But this part back here, this bubble, I have painted it, but it's kind of hard to tell with the light. But I might have to put another coat on there. But that is painted that titanium gold. And this is, like I said, this is a copper, this band around the front here. And this is black right here. And other than that, I didn't really, other than what the instructions say, I didn't really see any other details on here by the CGI images that need to be painted. There's plenty of decals that need to go on yet, and a couple of touch-up spots, but she's pretty much done on the back end here. So now hopefully next episode we'll come back and we'll be ready to put the two halves together and start hooking up and looking at some lighting on this, other than just doing the little test lighting parts that I did. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. We're gonna wrap it up and we'll come back next episode and take a look at where I'm at, and hopefully we'll get this mounted to the lower part of the saucer section and get ready to seal up that saucer section here in the next episode or two. So and then we've got quite a bit of decaling I've got to do and some more details that I got to paint yet. But other than that, I'm pretty satisfied. The nacelles lined up pretty nice, so none of that warpage I was worried about. She's lined up pretty good. But so anyway, guys, I appreciate everybody's been watching and subscribing. Please subscribe if you want the updates when I put them out. If you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to. Please at least hit that like button below. Let me know how I'm doing. if you find anything here useful especially. But just want to say again before I sign off, just a reminder that it's the 35th anniversary of Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, and Fathom Events is doing, I mentioned this last episode, that Fathom Events is doing a showing of the, I think they did a restore, or it's getting ready to come out on digital UHD 4K now, so they did a remaster of the videos, I think. And so Fathom Events is putting it out. If you go to Regal Cinemas or go to fathomevents.com and check it out and see if there's a showing near. I know I'm going, so I've already got my ticket for it next month. I think there's 2 dates. I think it's the 19th and 22nd of August. But I didn't get a chance to see that on the screen when it came out. You know, I was only about 12 years old when that came out, so it wasn't really my choice. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Just want to let y'all know in case anybody else is interested in seeing it. So, but anyway, guys, again, thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, keep modeling.